Hello everyone. Today I am going to speak about the topic of molecular phylogeny and evolution of horse. Biological information organized in a taxonomic or phylogenetic manner. That's why we are establish a relationship between all the organisms by a phylogenetic manner. Now I am going to discuss about molecular phylogeny and its basic purpose at evolutionary field. Let's begin with molecular phylogeny. A word phylogeny is derived from a combination of Greek words phylon means stem and genesis means origin. Phylogeny is the true evolutionary relationships between groups of living things. Molecular phylogeny. Molecular phylogeny is a branch of phylogeny that analyzes evolutionary relationships among organisms or genes by a combination of molecular biology and statistical techniques. Let's see origin of molecular phylogeny. The naturalists of the 18th and early 19th centuries linked this hierarchy to a tree of life, an analogy that was adopted by Darwin in The Origin of Species as a means of describing the interconnected evolutionary histories of living organisms. The classificatory scheme devised by Linnaeus therefore become reinterpreted as a phylogeny, indicating not just the similarities between species but also their evolutionary relationships. Let's know about the history of molecular phylogeny. This branch of a study emerged in early 20th century with the advent of protein sequencing, PCR, electrophoresis and other molecular biological techniques. In 1904, Nutshell used serological cross reaction to infer relationships among organisms. In 1950s, molecular techniques such as protein sequencing and starch gel electrophoresis introduced into evolutionary studies. Between 1960s and 1970s, molecular data used in phylogenetic reconstruction at a high level such as orders and classes. In 1985, development of polymerase chain reaction, also famous as People's Choice reaction, which is abbreviated as PCR due to its monumental significance, has led to unprecedented levels of activity in the phylogenetic reconstruction. Next is objective of molecular phylogenetics. Molecular phylogenetics uses the structure and function of molecules and how they change over a time to infer these evolutionary relationships. Within past decade, this field has been further re-energized and redefined as a whole genome sequencing for complex organisms has become faster and less expensive. The primary objective of molecular phylogenetic studies is to recover the order of evolutionary events and represents them in evolutionary trees that graphically depict relationships among species or genes over time. So, what is molecular phylogeny? According to modern evolutionary theory, all organisms on earth have descended from a common ancestor, which means that any set of species extant or extinct is related. This relationship is called a phylogeny and it is represented by phylogenetic trees, which graphically represent the evolutionary history related to the Equidae family in this figure. Phylogenetics infers trees from observations about existing organisms using morphological, physiological and molecular characteristics. Let's see the sites of phylogenetic trees. Before exploring statistical and bioinformatics methods for estimating phylogenetic trees from the molecular data, it is important to have a basic familiarity of the terms and elements common to this type of trees. As seen in the figure, Phylogenetic tree are composed of branches, also known as edges, that connect and terminate at nodes. Branches and nodes can be internal or external. The terminal nodes at the tip of the tree presents operational taxonomic units, also abbreviated as OTUs. OTUs corresponds to the molecular sequence or taxa from which the tree was inferred. Internal nodes represent the last common ancestor, that is LCA, to all nodes that arise from that point. In this figure, branches of a tree can be grouped together in different ways. According to the figure, a monophyletic group consists of an internal LCA node and all OTUs arising from it. All members within the group are derived from a common ancestor and have inherited a set of unique common traits. A paraphyletic group excludes such taxa, and a polyphyletic group can be a collection of distantly related OTUs that are associated by a similar characteristics or phenotype, but are not directly descendant from a common ancestor. For example, all mammals except the marsupialia. Evolution is shaped by homology. Similar phylogenetic trees are defined by homologous relationships. Paralogs are homologous sequences separated by a gene duplication event. Orthologs are homologous sequences separated by a speciation event when one species diverges into two. Homologs can be either paralogs or orthologs. Molecular phylogenetic trees are drawn so that branch length corresponds to amount of evolution between nodes. Molecular phylogenetic trees are generated from character data sets that provide evolutionary content and context. Character data consist of biomolecular sequence alignment of DNA, RNA, amino acids, molecular markers such as SNPs, that means single nucleotide polymorphisms, or restriction fragment length polymorphisms, that is also abbreviated as RFLPs, morphology data, or information on gene order and content. Evolution is modeled as a process that changes the state of character, such as the type of nucleotide at a specific location in a DNA sequence. Each character is a function that maps a set of taxa. Let us discuss about the major steps of phylogenetic analysis. The basic steps in any phylogenetic analysis remain the same: assemble and align a dataset, build phylogenetic trees from sequences using computational methods, stochastic models, statistical tests, and assess the estimated trees. First, assemble and align datasets. The first step is to identify a protein or DNA sequence of interest and assemble a dataset consisting of other related sequences. For example, to explore relationships among different members of the Notch family of proteins, one might select DNA sequence in different species such as human, dog, rat, and mouse, then perform a multiple sequence alignment to identify homologies. For this, we follow the given process that first the DNA sequence can be retrieved using NCBI, BLAST, or similar search tools. When evaluating a set of related sequences retrieved in a BLAST search, pay close attention to the score and E-value. Once sequences are selected and retrieved, then multiple sequence alignment is created. There are many websites and software programs such as ClustalW, MSA, MAFFT and TCoffee designed to perform multiple sequence on a given set of molecular data. ClustalW is currently the most mature and most widely used alignment tools. Building phylogenetic trees. To build a phylogenetic trees, statistical methods are applied to determine the tree topology and calculate the branch lengths that best describe the phylogenetic relationships of the aligned sequence in a data set. Many different methods for building trees exist, and no single method performs well for all types of trees and data sets. The most common computational methods applied include distance matrix methods, discrete data methods such as maximum parsimony and maximum likelihood. There are several software packages such as PopStar, PAML, Philip that apply most popular methods. PopStar is a commercially available program that implements a wide variety of methods for a phylogenetic inference, including maximum likelihood analysis for DNA data using different models. Phylogenetic analysis by maximum likelihood, which is abbreviated as PAML, is open access set of programs for phylogenetic. Philip is another large suite of open access programs for a phylogenetic inference that estimates trees using numerous methods, including pairwise distance, maximum parsimony and maximum likelihood. Philip is generally considered good educational software for novice. Let's see various phylogenetic analysis tools. There are several good online tools and databases that can be used for phylogenetic analysis. These include Panther, Peapod, PPharm, TreeFarm and the PhyloFacts Structural Phylogenomic Encyclopedia. The second part of the topic is evolution of horse. The evolution of horse occurred over a period of million years, transforming the small dog-sized forest-dwelling Eohippus into the modern horse. Let's discuss about the classification of horse. The modern horses are classified into Eukarya domain. It is included into Animalia kingdom, phylum Chordata and class Mammalia. It is belong to the order Perissodactyla, suborder Hippomorpha, family Equidae and genus Equus. The species of modern horses is Equus caballus, which is our domestic horse. Let's know the history. The original sequence of species believed to have evolved was based on fossils discovered in the North America in the 1870s by paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh. The sequence from Eohippus to the modern horse, that is Equus, was popularized by Thomas Huxley. Let's start with before odd-toed ungulates. Phenacodontidae. Phenacodontidae is the earliest family in order to Condylarthra, which is believed to be the ancestor of all odd-toed ungulates. It contains the genera Almogaver, Copatian, Actosian, Odesmetodon, Meniscotherium, Phenacodus, Plura Sphidotherium. The family lived from early Paleocene to the mid-Eocene in Europe and were about the size of a sheep, with tails making slightly less than half of the length of their bodies and, unlike their ancestors, good running skills for eluding predators. Now we are going to discuss the different type of horses in Eocene era. First one is Eohippus. Eohippus was only 2 feet long and 12 to 4 inches high at the shoulder. The primitive horse had 4 hoofed toe on the front feet and 3 hoofed toes on the hind foot. It had a long skull with 44 long crowned teeth. Eohippus was a grazing herbivore that ate soft leaves and plant shoots. Eohippus lived during the early Eocene era about 50 million years ago. It lived in the northern hemisphere including Asia, Europe and North America. The first fossils of this tiny horse were found in England by the famous paleontologist Richard Owen in 1841 and named Hyracotherium. The second horse of the Eocene epoch named as Orohippus. Approximately 50 million years ago, in the early to middle Eocene, Eohippus smoothly transitioned into the Orohippus through a gradual series of changes. Although its name means mountain horse, Orohippus was not a true horse and did not live in the mountains. It resembled Eohippus in size, but had a slimmer body and elongated head, slimmer forelimbs and longer hind legs, all of which are characteristics of a good jumper. Although Orohippus was still pad-footed, the vestigial outer toes of the Eohippus were not present in the Orohippus. There were 4 toes on each foreleg and 3 on each hind leg. The most dramatic change between Eohippus and Orohippus was in the teeth. The first of the premolar teeth were dwarfed, the last premolar shifted in a shape and functioned into a molar, and crests on the teeth become more pronounced. Both of these factors gave the teeth of Orohippus greater grinding ability, suggesting Orohippus can eat tougher plant material. Epihippus. In the mid-Eocene, about 47 million years ago, Epihippus, a genus which continued the evolutionary trend of increasingly efficient grinding teeth, evolved from Orohippus. Epihippus had 5 grinding low-crowned cheek teeth with well-formed crests. It was slightly larger than Orohippus. These forms become extinct by the end of Eocene and were replaced by Mesohippus. Let us discuss about the horses in Oligocene period. Mesohippus. In the late Eocene and the early stages of the Oligocene epoch, the climate of North America became drier and the earliest grasses began to evolve. The forests were yielding to a flatlands, home to grasses and various kinds of bushes. In the early Oligocene, Mesohippus was one of the more widespread mammals in North America. It walked on 3 toes on each of its front and hind feet, judging by its longer and slimmer limbs. Mesohippus was the agile animal. Mesohippus was slightly larger than Epihippus, about 610 mm at the shoulder. Its back was less arched and its face, snout and neck were somewhat longer. It had significant larger cerebral hemisphere and had a small shallow depression on its skull called a fossa, which is modern horses is quite detailed. The fossa serves as a useful marker for identifying an equine fossils species. Mesohippus had 6 grinding cheek teeth with a single premolar in front a trait all descendant Equidae would retain. Mesohippus also had a sharp-toothed crest of Epihippus, improving its ability to grinding down tough vegetation. Second one is Meohippus. Around 36 million years ago, soon after the development of Mesohippus, Meohippus emerged. The earliest species being Meohippus acinibionensis. Meohippus was significantly larger than its predecessor and its ankle joints had subtly changed. Its facial fossa was larger and deeper, and it also began to show a variable extra crest in its upper cheek teeth, a trait that became a characteristic feature of equine teeth. Mesohippus died out in a mid-Oligocene. Meohippus continued to thrive, and in the early Miocene, it began to rapidly diversify and speciate. Horses in Miocene. First in Miocene is Parahippus. The Meohippus population that remained on the steppes is believed to be ancestral to Parahippus, a North American animal about the size of a small pony with a prolonged skull and a facial structure resembling the horses of today. Its third toe was stronger and larger and carried the main weight of the body. Its four premolars resembled the molar teeth, and the first were small and almost non-existent. Second is Merychippus. Merychippus, an effective grazer and runner in the middle of the Miocene epoch, the grazer Merychippus flourished. It had wider molars than its predecessor, which are believed to have been used for crunching the hard grasses of the steppes. The hind legs, which were relatively short, had a side toes equipped with small hooves, but they probably only touched the ground when they running. Horses in Pliocene. Three lineages within Equidae are believed to be descended from the numerous varieties of Merychippus: Hipparion, Protohippus and Pliohippus. Let us start with Hipparion. The fossil remains of Hipparion are found in Pliocene, from China to West Europe, including India, Central Asia, Greece, Spain, etc., and also in Africa up to Cape. They were the last three-toed ancestor of horse and were of the size of pony, about 40 inches in height. The teeth were straight but with cups adapted for grinding. The line became extinct in Upper Pleistocene. Second is Pliohippus. Pliohippus arose from a Calihippus in the middle Miocene around 12 million years ago. Pliohippus was clearly a close relative of Equus. Its skull had deep facile fossa, whereas Equus had no fossae at all. Its teeth were strongly curved, unlike the very straight teeth of modern horses. Consequently, it is unlikely to be the ancestor of the modern horse. Instead, it is a likely candidate for the ancestor of Astrohippus. Horses in Pleistocene. First is Placippus. Placippus is often considered an intermediate stage between Dinohippus and the extant genus Equus. Their teeth had long, less curved at the end of Pliocene. The climate in North America began to cool significantly, and most of the animals were forced to move south. One population of Placihippus moved across the Bering Land Bridge into Eurasia around 2.5 million years ago. Modern horses of Equus. Molecular phylogenesis indicate the most recent common ancestor of all modern equids lived approximately 5.6 million years ago. The oldest divergeneses are the Asian hemions, including the Kolan, onager and Kiang, followed by the African zebras. All other modern forms, including the domesticated horse, belong to the subgenus Equus, which diverged approximately 4.8 million years ago. Recent genetic work results suggest all North American fossils of Cabeline type horses and Salwowski's horse of Europe and Asia, as well as South American fossils traditionally placed in a subgenus Equus amerihippus, belong to the same species Ferus. Remains attributed to a variety of species and lumped as New World stilt-legged horses, including Equus francicus, Equus tau, Equus quinii and potentially North American Pleistocene fossils previously attributed to Equus hemions, and Equus asinus likely all belong to a second species endemic to North America, which despite a superficial resembles to a species in the subgenus Equus asinus is closely related to Equus ferus. Surprisingly, the third species endemic to South America and traditionally referred to as Hippidion, originally believed to be descendant from Pleiohippus, was shown to be a third species in the genus Equus, closely related to the New World stilt-legged horse. Summary. Let us summarize this lecture. Phylogeny refers to a relationship between animal species in evolution depending upon numerous criteria like morphology. Recent techniques like immunological, genetical and bioinformatics criteria help to establish their relatedness in a form of phylogenetic trees. Horse has evolved from fossil studies in North America from Paleocene to Eocene and rapidly diversified and speciate later becoming modern horse. Thank you.